Architecture in its purest sense is designing facilities to help them achieve their goals, but beyond that is all the prep work that we do to really establish that project before we even begin the design process. And sometimes that involves helping them understand what their mission is.
Here, architecture, we try and be connected to all the departments. We try and make sure they can be a part of the team. It's a very collaborative environment, which is great. We're designers, so we're creative thinkers.
Doing any drawings that are necessary, specifications, making sure that when projects are under construction that everything's going smoothly and the project's being built in accordance with the construction documents.
The best ways to go about developing an outstanding space, beginning with a feasibility study, where we start talking to a broad cross-section of the community about what the needs are.
Another reason why we were hired was our experience with community engagement, because a lot of times the client, especially with schools, is not necessarily a district as much as it is the community and what they're willing to support. The first part of that project is going to be all about community engagement and helping define the vision for not just the district, but for the entire community.
I think what makes Wightman stand out in the education sector is the fact that we have very experienced professionals that have worked for many years in K-12, but are very passionate about student achievement.
At Wightman, we have a really deep understanding of education and how buildings can have a positive impact on students as well as on communities. We understand not only those issues that can cause students not to perform well when a building is poorly designed, but ultimately the building does play a role and it can increase or decrease test scores by 15% or more. We were able to develop some really strong evidence of where the buildings make the biggest difference.
My favorite project to work on has been the Schendorf Brewery. This project was an existing building that the client owned and was a restaurant. The client also owned a cattle farm, butchered his own meat, and had his own aspirations of growing his business. Kind of wanted to pull in the restaurant side and the butcher market side, as well as a brewery. It was a really fun challenge to look at his existing space and the neighboring space and try to figure out how to fit the parts and pieces and create the environment that would draw people in, and that a restaurant that people wanted to be at and would keep them coming back for more. And to support his business plan, Schendorf is that client's livelihood.
Interior design at Wightman, we do commercial interiors, so it's a lot of public buildings, spaces that are going to touch a lot of people on a daily basis. For interiors, it goes a little bit to the life cycle. So for finishes, we pick finishes obviously that kind of are in that realm of where we feel like it needs to fall. There's an indefinite amount of finishes that you can pick from, so we can always kind of scale back as we need to. For furniture on interior design projects, we work with a lot of local furniture representatives who give us those good resources and costs, and we were able to build those budgetary numbers kind of early on. And then again, we can always pick and pull as we need to get to that budget line.
I love diving into the pedagogy and see how we can apply that so that they have a more holistic learning experience and incorporate design into learning.
Very integral. In fact, some might say there's no separation between the two. They're one and the same. For myself, I have them involved from day one, and I can't imagine doing a project without their involvement. They're involved in the programming phase way before design even starts, helping define the use of each space, the size of each space, the furniture and the equipment that's required to make the space usable.
We handle a lot of the renderings. So not only are we rendering interior spaces, but we'll render the exterior of the building. If there's a site plan that needs a render, we'll help with that.
There's so many different ways we can impact people's lives and just help the space be more functional, and there's just so much that goes into it.